Here's why photos are the best insight into the condition of the item. They're not just a way to see if it looks cool. Today I'm going to tell you what specifically to look for in photos of vintage hi-fi, including which pictures are the most important, what a good set of photos includes, and if the listing doesn't have good photos, most importantly, exactly what to ask for. They tell you a story of how the gear was treated, where it's been, and whether it's going to function properly. One of the hardest things when buying vintage audio is to put aside your excitement for a piece of gear when you see it and really dive into the pictures to find the clues to the real condition of the component. Pictures always tell the whole story. We're going to talk about something that can make or break your buying experience when you're hunting for used hi-fi equipment. Whether you're scrolling through eBay or Craigslist or any of those audiophile forums, the quality and quantity of pictures in a listing can tell you almost everything you need to know. Pictures or lack thereof are often the difference between making a confident purchase and taking a massive risk. Today, we are breaking down what to look for in a listing's photos, how a lack of pictures can be a huge red flag, and why a well-photographed piece of equipment can save you from potential headaches and a drained wallet. Let's get to it. What does a solid set of photos look like? When you're shopping for hi-fi equipment, you want to see the item from every single angle. You need to know exactly what you're getting. If a seller's being stingy with their photos, that's your first clue that something might be off. At a bare minimum, you should expect the following: a full front shot. The front face of the unit is probably the first thing you're going to notice, and you're going to want to see the display, the knobs, the buttons, and any wear or tear that might be present on the unit that you're buying. A clear straight-on front photo is essential so that you know if that receiver's faceplate is scratched up, if the knobs are missing, or if the display is cracked. The back panel. This is huge. Now, the back panel of the equipment tells you the kind of connections that you're dealing with. Are all the RCA jacks, speaker terminals, or power connections intact? If it's an older piece of gear, is there rust or corrosion, which is a major factor? A seller who doesn't show you the back panel is either lazy or they're hiding something. Next, you're going to want to look for some close-up shots. You want close-ups of key areas: the power button, the volume knob, the speaker terminals, input-output jacks, tubes if it's a tube amp, and even the corners of the cabinets for speakers. These details matter, especially if there's any wear or damage. The devil's in the details, and if the seller isn't willing to show you those details, you have a major problem. Next is going to be the serial number or the model info, right? So a trustworthy seller will show you a clear picture of the serial number and the make and model badge. So this is going to distinguish that unit. This lets you verify the model, the year of manufacture, and in some cases, check if the unit is genuine or a knockoff, which actually happens. It's also useful for tracking down service history if you're buying from a reputable brand like Macintosh or Bowers & Wilkins. No serial number photo or no model number? Be wary. Next would be the internal components, if they can do it. Now, this one depends on the kind of gear you're looking at. If the seller has opened up the unit to show the internals, that is usually a good sign. You can check out the condition of things like capacitors, tubes, and even the crossover components in speakers. It shows that the seller knows their stuff and isn't afraid to show you what's under the hood. If there's no internal shot on something like a vintage amp or receiver, it's worth asking for one. And hey, if you're finding this video helpful, subscribe to the channel, smash the like button, give this video some hype, and go into the comments section and join our community conversation about this topic. I read every comment and love hearing from all of you in our community. All right, now let's flip the script. What about when there aren't enough photos? This is a huge red flag, especially when you're dealing with expensive or rare gear. If the seller only provides one or two distant shots, or worse, they use stock photos. I mean, come on, really? Stock photos? It happens all the time. Alarm bells should be ringing in your head. Caution, right? This is bad news. Don't ever buy anything with stock photos. Now let's break down some of the photos that you may see if they're there, right? So blurry or distant photos, right? This is a classic tactic of sellers who don't want you to see the flaws in their item. The photo's blurry. There's a chance they're hiding scratches, dents, Or even worse, if the photo is taken from far away that you can't even make out the model number, they're trying to avoid showing you the important details. Now, blurry photos can also indicate the seller didn't take the time to properly showcase their equipment, and if they didn't take the time to take good pictures, what makes you think they took the time to properly care for the item? Now, the next scenario, which this happens all the time, is only one photo. One photo. That's it. Nope. Totally unacceptable, especially for high-end gear. This happens more than you think. One picture can't properly show you everything that you need to know. If the seller only posts one photo, they're either too lazy to bother with more, which doesn't inspire confidence in their care of the item, or they're hiding something. A single photo leaves too many questions unanswered. What's the condition of the back panel? Are there scratches or dents that you can't see? If the seller only provides one photo, always ask for more before you even think about making an offer. All right, this next one, I don't even know why I'm talking about it. This is stock photos. I'm gonna go back. This is the worst thing ever. The good old stock photo trap. If the listing only has stock photos from the manufacturer or some generic image pulled off the internet, you've got a problem. Now, this doesn't go for new gear. Of course, it's usually gonna be stock photos, but anything pre-owned or vintage, stock photos tell you absolutely nothing. Nothing about the condition of the specific item that you're buying. Sure, you know what the unit looked like when it was new, but how does it look now? And I know this sounds ridiculous, but it does happen quite often. Has it been well maintained, or is it a beat up mess? No way to tell from a stock photo. It still sounds ridiculous to me. And stock photos for vintage gear is really concerning. I mean, where condition is everything. If you come across a listing for a classic turntable or an amp, and the seller is only using a stock photo, just run for the hills. It's not a goodbye, whatever it is. The next part is probably the most important, though, of this entire video, and you're not going to want to miss this. It could give you the advantage over every other buyer out there. But first, if you're looking for new HiFi components to pair with your vintage HiFi, AllEliteAudio.com is my new store that offers some of the best HiFi brands around. Every brand on AllEliteAudio.com has been personally picked by me to give you the best hi-fi experience possible. And I know how to match vintage hi-fi with new hi-fi. When you make a purchase from my new company, All Elite Audio, you'll get to know me and my team, which, by the way, is fairly small, and we will get to know you. We personally know what's in almost every one of our customer systems, and we remember it, or we try our best to. You do not just become a customer with All Elite Audio, you become family, and you get to personally know us. I mean, that's pretty cool, right? All right, so back to the most important thing, and that's the benefits of a well-photographed listing. Let's say you come across a listing with a ton of high-quality photos. Front, back, sides, internals, you name it, they got it. What does this tell you about the seller? Well, for one, it shows they care about the item that they're selling. They've taken the time to properly showcase it, which means they likely took good care of it when it was in their possession, even if they're selling it for somebody else. It also gives you the confidence that the seller isn't hiding anything. They're being upfront about the condition, and they want you to see every aspect of the item before you make a decision to purchase. This transparency is a huge plus, especially when you're dealing with high-end or vintage gear where condition is everything. Now, one more very important thing. If they don't have enough pictures, don't be afraid to ask. Message them. Just ask for the things that we talked about earlier, just one by one. I want to see this picture. I want to see the front. I want to see the back. I want to see the inside, whatever it is. And they should respond to you with those pictures. They may even add them to the listing. But don't be afraid to ask. If they're not going to send them to you, it's probably not a good buy. So it's important, if they don't have the pictures, ask for them. Hopefully they give them to you. If they do, if they give you the pictures, that should raise your confidence level quite a bit. They're not hiding anything. You know, there is a chance. Maybe they just took bad pictures. Maybe they're not used to doing eBay or wherever they're listing it. But if they send you new pictures, okay, they send you something new, you're like, hey, your pictures are blurry. Can you send me something new? Closer up, better condition, whatever it is. That's a good sign. So that would not be a red flag. That would be something that I would look for that would make me more confident in making that purchase. Now remember, pictures tell a story. A seller who provides clear, detailed photos is telling you I've got nothing to hide. Here's everything you need to know before you buy. But a seller who skimps on the photos or provides blurry, distant shots, they're leaving you to fill in the blanks, and that's a risk that you don't want to take. So next time you're browsing for that perfect amp, speaker, or turntable, remember, quality photos are your best friend. They can save you time and money.